Hello everybody and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. I am Sanjita and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up video on the Executrix counter that I released a video on last week. I have a couple updates on stats to my fleet, just 2 ships that have been updated, and I also have dove a bit deeper into some of the key mechanics and decision points you'll face throughout the battle. I have 3 victorious battles to watch and 1 close loss where it's an easy cleanup, and even when I was watching the recording I thought that one was a win as well. So the only changes I've made to my fleet are I've added 6-dot mods to Tarkin, which has given the capital ship 3 more speed, and I've also added 6-dot mods to my TIE Fighter pilot. He's still R5, but it has added a few speed to the Imperial TIE Fighter as well, a few thousand extra health, and a couple more dodge percentage, so he's up to almost 30%, and that dodge does come in handy a lot. It would be much better at R6, R7, R8, but right now I just want to keep him at this level. So in this first match I'm going to go over some of the key decision points, and you'll see how this does come out in a victory. The first key decision point is if you don't have an ability blocked TIE Fighter by the time it takes a turn, should you use the basic or should you use its special? Because the basic will put target lock on the enemy Y-Wing and it'll force a taunt on your bomber, but that's an extra debuff. And then when your Executrix does its AoE, it has a chance to land both ability block, which is good, expose, okay, but if it has all 3, the Falcon is just going to dispel them. So your goal should be to get that ability block on. It's about a 70% chance or something. But if it has the target lock, that's not going to happen. And also, you don't really want the bomber taunting anyway by the time the Y-Wing takes its turn, because it's going to do that shield disruption and really mess you up. So let's get into the first battle.
Hello there.
Like and subscribe.
So you'll notice in the opening salvo, I do get some lucky dodges with my TIE Fighter. Look at that. So he didn't get any debuffs on him. That's unlikely. But here, I actually made the wrong decision. I used the basic and got the target lock. But I also got unlucky and didn't get the ability block either. However, I resisted the protection disruption, which is huge. If your bomber can avoid protection disruption at the beginning, that's huge, and you pretty much guarantee a win because he'll just take the hits just like this. And so for the first reinforcement, I brought in the second sister because I just wanted to get some extra AoE damage. I had some debuffs to cleanse on the bomber. If there's no debuffs at all, I'm going to bring in Vader ship instead. Okay, so you see it's going smooth here. Right there, this attack doesn't do a huge amount. Okay, so that's one thing you should keep an eye on, because Emperor Shuttle, its second special attack, the one that actually doesn't attack, it forces a taunt. So you kind of want to save it until you really need it, like if the bomber is in dire circumstances or it's not taunting already. Otherwise, you just want to do the basic because it does more damage. But in this match, as you can see, it's not really a worry. We have all the starting lineup out. The Y-Wing, the Millennium Falcon, and the Dash's ship. So this is pretty smooth sailing here, and we're going to get the win without even getting to an ultimate or anything. And with Emperor Shuttle, I just cleanse up the bomber, just keep him topped off, and make it just as much of a sure thing as you can. So yeah, the Phantom isn't going to do much by itself, and this is pretty much game, set, match. That's the finishing blow. Alright, and here's the second battle. This is another clear win. In the opening, you'll see that I do what I'd say is the correct thing to do with the TIE Fighter. I don't have the ability block on him, but I do choose to use the special, getting some foresight and not getting an extra debuff on the Y-Wing. And he does land the ability block, which is huge. And since it didn't land that early ability block, I should have used the taunt ability on Palpatine there, because that comes in handy later, as you'll see in another video. But the bomber, he's able to take these early hits very easily, and this is huge as far as getting to the point where he can do enough damage to take out the fleet. Because surviving that opening salvo and maybe the next salvo is what it's all about. So here it's not ideal that we weren't able to take out the Y-Wing before it got a protection disruption off, but the bomber is able to survive a little bit longer until it can drop the protection disruption, and we pull out the win. Alright, and this is just getting some offense up. Potency up, not huge, but there, as you can see, the protection disruption dropped off, and now he can take those hits. But we already have the Y-Wing and the Falcon out of the way, so this is huge. Next priority is always going to be dash, and this is pretty good. Already looking like a sure win. It's just a matter of cleaning up the extras at the end. So I saw a comment that Biggs makes this worse, but there's in some of the other battles, he actually does quite a lot, because he does take out a ship upon reinforcing in one battle, and in another battle he has a crucial taunt to protect the Millennium Falcon and Biggs' ship, while I could have knocked them out, and he keeps them alive in time to win that fight. And here's the third match, also a win. Not quite as dominant as the first two, where we have everything left. But it is quite a good win. There's some points throughout the battle where it seems it's definitely going to lose. But in the beginning we got some good dodges with the TIE Fighter, and there was no assist from the Millennium Falcon, which is huge. I used the basic there, but luckily it got resisted. So our AoE did get the ability block on the Y-Wing, which is again huge. Using the basic there with EP, correct move. And then using that burning is always a good idea. So there's Biggs coming in and knocking out the TIE Fighter. And keeping the TIE Fighter around is actually a pretty big deal to help do some damage, because with just the bomber and EP shell, you don't have enough to go around to actually take them out. But they're... I wasn't able to kill Y-Wing in time to prevent the protection disruption. So to get that off, and bomber is just on death's door here. When I was doing this battle, I thought for sure it was over, he was going to lose. As you'll see, I can force a taunt on the TIE Advanced, right there. And then the taunt drops off the bomber, and then Vader starts working as the tank for a little bit. And without that, we wouldn't have won this match, absolutely. So can't target the Falcon. Next best thing is go for the Outrider. Bring in the Interceptor, get a cleanse. Definitely a big deal. I believe just we're able to take out, yeah, the Outrider. I think I take the Phantom out next. And then it's just the lone Millennium Falcon. And at that point, not even a Falcon can win the fight. Go. Yeah, so I think it's able to, in this battle, Profundity is able to hold out a little bit longer. Yeah, they get a reinforcement in, but they don't get to the ultimate, not even close. There's the Ghost doing his thing, ability blocking everyone, and there goes the Falcon. And the ultimate. So that's it for that battle. And this is the fourth and final battle. It is not a win, but it is not bad either. Like I said, even when I was going through my recordings to label which battles I had were wins and losses, I thought this was one of the wins, because I only had one loss recorded. Yeah, the TIE Fighter is able to handle that opening salvo. Unfortunately, I did ability or target lock Y-Wing, and then the ability block, and everything fell off, so they were able to get shield disruption. So we're able to hang on a little bit longer here, and in the end, I think they only have 2 ships left, so definitely an easy cleanup, but it's hard to handle here. In this situation, definitely always go for the Interceptor, because you want to cleanse everything off. Most importantly, the shield disruption. That I think was probably a misplay. I think the AoE is better there. It's not a huge difference either way, but AoE is preferable. And here I think is where Biggs actually helps out a lot because he taunts. And whereas I would be able to take out the Falcon or the Outrider easily, I'm stuck behind this taunt where I actually do a lot of damage and would have killed any other ship other than Biggs. See? But even so, it's still not looking impossible, and there's a point shortly after this where I'm still thinking I'm gonna win this after all, even though all these things went wrong. So yeah, at this point I brought out the TIE Advanced, and I have a full fleet now, 5 ships. Take out Biggs, looking great. I do the cleanse and the heal on the TIE Bomber, so I got a nice tank up and running. And this may be where the luck starts to turn, and start taking out some ships. Yeah, take out the Interceptor. And with this second round of burning, I think this is where I thought, like, I'm definitely gonna win. Take out the Outrider here, just 2 ships left. Should be easy, right? Wrong. Here I should have forced a taunt. It might have helped. But it's hard to time, hard to know when Profundity is actually getting that ultimate off. Right about the time, if they still have ships up right before Tarkin's ultimate is about to be up, that's usually close to when it is. But again, it's just hard to keep track. Yeah, so this is a loss, but I am encouraged with the improvement I see in this counter, with a few changes and a few conscious decision points in that opening. I think it works a lot better. But let me know what you think. If you have any improvements, if you've had any luck with it, I'd like to hear about it. And if you have any suggestions for things to try out that I can do, I'd like to hear about that as well.